Most people believe the world runs on fairness, hard work, and honesty. Machiavelli would laugh in their faces. He knew what most still deny: the world is ruled by deception, strategy, and power, not by good intentions. His rules weren't pretty. They weren't polite, but they worked. And that's what made them dangerous. Machiavelli didn't write for followers. He wrote for rulers, for those who wanted to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast anyone in their way. And if he were alive today, his advice would terrify modern thinkers, because it would expose how soft we've become. He wouldn't tell you to be authentic. He'd tell you to be strategic. He wouldn't tell you to be honest. He'd tell you to be useful. He wouldn't tell you to be loved. He'd tell you to be feared, if love wasn't an option. This is the dark genius of Machiavelli. He didn't moralize power. He explained it, coldly, precisely. And once you learn his rules, you stop playing like a pawn and start moving like a king. Here's rule 1. Appear virtuous. Act strategically. The masses don't care who you are. They care what you look like. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." That's why fools rise so quickly. They understand image. They look the part. And in a shallow world, looking powerful often matters more than being powerful. So what do? You master both. You build substance privately, and you project control publicly. You don't just work hard, you control how that work is seen. You don't just move quietly, you decide when silence speaks louder than speech. You let others assume you're kind, pure, even humble, while you plan moves 3 layers deeper than they can comprehend. Rule 2. Use your enemies better than your allies. Allies comfort you, enemies sharpen you. Machiavelli didn't just tolerate opposition, he weaponized it. He taught that your enemies often reveal more than your friends. Why? Because enemies are honest, brutally honest. And if you watch them closely, they show you your weaknesses before the world sees them. So you let them speak, let them attack, let them believe they've wounded you. And then while they're busy celebrating, you outposition them. Turn their noise into momentum. Turn their hate into strategy. Turn their obsession into free publicity. Rule 3. When you strike, strike to end. Machiavelli didn't believe in halfway measures. He believed in final moves. If you harm someone, do it in such a way that you do not have to fear their vengeance. That's not cruelty. That's efficiency. Half justice creates enemies. Hesitation invites retaliation. But decisiveness earns silence. So when you draw a line, defend it fully. When you end a relationship, don't revisit it. When you confront disloyalty, don't give second chances. Because the man who forgives recklessly loses authority. But the man who strikes cleanly never gets tested twice. Rule 4. Control perception, never explain. The need to explain yourself is a weakness. If they don't understand your silence, they won't respect your strategy. The more you talk, the more you leak. The more you justify, the more you reveal. And once you start defending yourself, you give your power to the accuser. Machiavelli's version of reputation was built on mystery, on strategic distance. The best way to remain untouchable: be clear in direction, vague in motive. People respect what they can't fully define. Rule 5. Never be too good, never be too evil, only be effective. Machiavelli didn't care about appearances of good or bad. He asked one thing: did it work? He believed morality was optional, but outcomes were everything. That's why his advice is feared, because it doesn't fit into our modern hunger for virtue signaling. It's not about being liked, it's about being effective. If kindness gets results, use it. If silence gets results, use it. If fear gets results, use it. You're not here to impress them, you're here to outlive them. These are the dark rules that make you dangerous, not because they're evil, but because they're real. And once you start using them, you stop being manipulated. You stop being passed over. You stop being predictable, and you start becoming inevitable. Machiavelli didn't believe in luck. He believed in leverage. He knew the world didn't reward the nicest. It rewarded the most prepared, the most strategic, the most adaptable. And if you wanted to win, you couldn't rely on chance. You had to bend the odds in your favor, deliberately. So he created principles not for comfort, but for dominance. Because Machiavelli's real genius wasn't just in surviving power, it was in sustaining it. Quietly, brutally, elegantly. Rule 6. Keep your hands clean, let others do the dirty work. A prince, he said, must appear virtuous while using vice. That means delegating the damage. Let someone else take the blame. Let someone else be the bad guy. You stay calm, you stay polished, and when the fire's out, you reward or remove. That's how you maintain control without becoming the villain. Your people will love you because you spared them the mess. But behind the scenes, you pulled every string. This is political jiu-jitsu, power with plausible deniability. Every leader who's lasted more than a season knows this rule by instinct, even if they never read The Prince. Rule 7. Destroy threats completely. Don't injure, eliminate. Half measures create revenge. If someone threatens your power, don't lecture them, don't warn them, don't try to educate them, neutralize them, silence them, make their influence irrelevant. Because the man you forgive today may sharpen the blade tomorrow. This isn't cruelty, it's containment. Machiavelli wrote, "Men should either be treated generously or destroyed, because injury invites return, but decisive removal prevents the cycle." Rule 8. Control the narrative, or be controlled by it. Machiavelli understood early what modern society is just learning. Perception is power, truth is weak without narrative. And in the absence of clear framing, the masses will follow the loudest voice. So what did he recommend? Own the story. Don't wait to be interpreted. Frame yourself. Make them see what you want them to see. Build myths around your discipline, your calm, your results. Make sure your name is associated with strength, competence, and clarity. And when critics arise, don't argue. Just tell a better story. Make your version simpler, sharper, more emotionally satisfying, because in power, the facts don't win, the story does. Rule 9. Be unpredictable on purpose. If people know what you'll do next, they can prepare. But if you're unpredictable, they hesitate, they guess, they second guess. And that space between their thought and your move is where you win. This is how you keep leverage. Never be fully transparent. Never commit to predictable habits. Let them think they know you. Then shift. Let them expect softness, then deliver steel. Let them feel safe, then pull back. Controlled unpredictability creates fear without chaos. You're not reckless, you're just unreadable. And unreadable men are dangerous. Rule 10. Don't become dependent on loyalty. Build dependence instead. The mistake weak rulers make is expecting loyalty from their people. Machiavelli would call that fantasy. People are loyal to their needs, their safety, their gain. If you want to keep people aligned, make sure they need you more than they like you. Don't ask for allegiance. Build infrastructure around your value. Become essential. Make them realize that removing you creates more pain than keeping you. This is why power isn't about popularity. It's about necessity. Become necessary. Rule 11. Use morality when it helps, but drop it when it hurts. This is where Machiavelli draws the final line between rulers and the ruled. Most people see morality as sacred. Machiavelli saw it as a tool, something to be used, not abandoned, but managed. If the moral code protects your power, follow it. If it weakens you, violate it quietly, cleanly, and without remorse. Because history doesn't remember those who followed the rules, it remembers those who shaped outcomes. So don't play by rules that were designed to keep you weak, play by results. This is how Machiavelli would outsmart everyone today. Not through noise, not through status, but through clean, sharp moves that no one sees until it's too late. And you now know what the crowd doesn't. that the game has always been rigged, for those bold enough to rig it first. At this point, Machiavelli's rules should start making you uncomfortable. They go against everything we're taught about leadership, relationships, and success. And that's the point. These aren't rules for getting along. These are rules for winning. Machiavelli didn't care about feelings. He cared about outcomes. He didn't care about public approval. He cared about staying in position when everyone else was losing theirs. He wasn't trying to build harmony. He was trying to build dominance. And that brings us to some of his darkest, most brilliant strategies yet. Rule 12. Use mercy for control, not for kindness. Mercy feels noble, but Machiavelli saw it as strategic. You don't forgive because it's the right thing to do. You forgive because it tightens your grip. It creates obligation. It creates psychological imbalance. It disarms the opponent and keeps them guessing. That's why selective mercy is more powerful than blind punishment. Not everyone deserves kindness, but everyone fears inconsistency. And when fear and uncertainty mix, you get control. Rule 13. Reward quietly, punish publicly. People remember pain more than praise. Machiavelli understood this. When someone breaks rank, the punishment must be visible. Why? Because it sends a message. It teaches without needing repetition. It recalibrates everyone watching. But when you reward, do it behind closed doors, quietly. Selectively, make people chase your approval. Make them wonder how to earn it. Keep them seeking, because a reward that's too easy becomes worthless. The balance is simple. Fear shapes behavior, hope sustains it. Rule 14. Disguise your ambition as humility. If people see you rising too fast, they'll resist you. They'll plot. They'll form alliances. They'll call you arrogant, even if you're not. So don't show them power. Show them discipline. Show them restraint. Let them believe you're modest, even as you're calculating your next leap. This is how you advance without resistance. You understate. You act small while thinking big. You dress like the soldier while planning like the general. Because in Machiavelli's world, the man who hides his claws gets closer to the throne. Rule 15. Don't correct fools. Replace them. Arguing with the wrong people wastes your time and lowers your rank. Fools don't respond to reason. They respond to emotion. But Machiavelli wouldn't tell you to educate the fool. He'd tell you to move around him, to let him speak until he self-destructs. Then you walk in and take the position, quietly, cleanly, without debate. That's how you win long-term. You don't fight stupidity. You outlive it. Rule 16. Let your silence create paranoia. Most people over-explain. They talk themselves into weakness. They reveal their thoughts, their doubts, their fears, all through words. But the Machiavellian mind understands silence is a weapon. When you don't respond, people wonder. When you don't defend, people project. When you don't react, people panic. Your stillness creates storms in other people's minds. They fill the gap with fear, and that fear becomes your leverage. Rule 17. Build your power before you need it. Most men wait until crisis to become strong, but by then, it's too late. Machiavelli believed in preparation, in slow, deliberate building behind the scenes. When everyone else is celebrating or collapsing, you're training, stacking leverage, learning. So when the moment comes, when the power vacuum appears, you don't ask for permission, you step in, because you're already ready. Rule 18. Make your rise look like destiny. People are drawn to inevitability. They want to follow someone who seems fated to win, not someone who begs, not someone who argues, but someone who rises so smoothly, so cleanly, that it looks like fate. That's the illusion of mastery. You don't fight for position. You make it feel like it was always yours. You remove doubt, not with words, but with calm, relentless execution. Because once people believe your rise is inevitable, they stop resisting, they start aligning. This is the real genius of Machiavelli. He knew that power was never about force. It was about timing, framing, silence, pressure, and long-term memory. Now you know what he knew. You're not just seeing the board, you're controlling it. By now you can see it. Machiavelli didn't write for the weak. He didn't write for the hopeful. He wrote for the few, willing to outthink, outweight, and outlast the emotional majority. And if you followed this far, you already feel the shift. You're not here for comfort. You're here to win. And that's why these next rules are not for the beginning of your rise. They're for when you're already moving, already watched, already envied. Because the higher you rise, the more subtle your moves must become. The darker the rules, the cleaner they must look. Rule 19. Let your rivals destroy themselves. You don't need to attack. Just provoke, just observe, just set the condition, and let their ego do the rest. Machiavelli knew that pride was easier to weaponize than fear. Push the wrong man into overreaching, and he'll fall by his own ambition. You didn't destroy him. He did it to himself. All you did was clear the path. Rule 20. Use boredom as a weapon. Most powerful men lose because they get bored, and boredom leads to chaos. Machiavelli understood that the disciplined man wins not because he's brilliant, but because he can repeat what works longer than the distracted can tolerate. Consistency exhausts chaos. So while others jump from trend to trend, you stay locked in. While others chase applause, you chase structure. You bore them into defeat, and when they burn out, you're still there. Cold, quiet, dominant. Rule 21. Make loyalty expensive. If everyone has access to you, no one values it. If anyone can stand beside you, no one protects that seat. Machiavelli would advise make loyalty a privilege, not a birthright. Test it, earn it, make people invest in it, because the harder it is to gain, the harder it is to lose. Your inner circle should feel sacred, not public, not assumed, exclusive, and exclusivity creates fear of loss. Rule 22. Plant seeds in every camp. You don't need to control everyone, you just need to influence them, quietly, indirectly. Machiavelli taught that a wise ruler has eyes and ears everywhere, not by spying, but by placing value in every camp. A favor here, a reward there, a connection built in silence. Because the best kind of intelligence, it walks right into your hands without being asked. You don't force loyalty. You scatter incentives. You make everyone benefit, just enough to keep talking. Rule 23. Hide your real power behind weaker men. When you look too strong, you become the target. When you look just helpful enough, they overlook you. Machiavelli praised the art of hiding the masterstroke. Let someone else be the face. Let someone else take the light. You stay behind the curtain, pulling the strings. That way, you rise without becoming a threat too early. Rule 24. Create your own crisis before one finds you. Power gets lazy, and lazy men get caught off guard. So you disrupt yourself. You stress test your system. You cut dead weight before it slows you down. You stir tension to reveal hidden snakes. Machiavelli would rather you start the fire on your own terms than wait for the enemy to light it for you. Rule 25. Build something they can't cancel. Reputation is fragile. Popularity is temporary, but structure survives. That's why the smartest rulers build systems, networks, assets, brands that work without applause, that don't depend on trends, that don't need constant approval. Something the mob can't touch, even when they scream. You want to be untouchable. Build something deeper than image. This is how Machiavelli would win today. Not with shock, not with status, but with timeless rules, executed with brutal patience. You don't need to be ruthless, you need to be strategic. And in a world of men still trying to be liked, that alone makes you dangerous. At this stage, you're no longer just learning how to move, you're learning how to last. Because Machiavelli didn't just teach how to rise, he taught how to reign. And staying on top requires sharper vision, colder instincts, and a willingness to do what others won't. These final laws are not about winning once, they're about winning for life. Rule 26. Make every win look inevitable, even when it's not. Machiavelli knew perception is armor. When you win, make it look effortless. Make it look planned, even if it wasn't. Why? Because the illusion of control is stronger than the fact of it. People follow certainty, and the man who looks like he always knew what he was doing becomes myth. Never show struggle, never show panic, never explain your pivots, just pivot and act like you meant it all along. Rule 27. Erase former allies when they become future threats. Loyalty fades, and sometimes the people who helped you rise become uncomfortable with your power. Machiavelli didn't believe in nostalgia, he believed in protection. The moment a former ally becomes hesitant, jealous, or unstable, cut them, not loudly, just cleanly. Don't let history blind you. Don't let emotion guide you. Protect the future by pruning the past. Rule 28. Make betrayal too expensive to attempt. Don't just punish betrayal. Design your empire so that betrayal costs more than loyalty. Use contracts. Use status. Use opportunity. Make sure anyone thinking of turning on you hesitates, not out of morality, but out of calculation. Machiavelli didn't count on trust. He counted on fear, gain, and dependency. Make betrayal a bad investment. Rule 29. Master the art of rotating loyalty. No one should feel permanent. Power shifts. Alliances evolve. And when people think they can't be replaced, they stop performing. The Machiavellian ruler rotates favor, keeps people guessing, keeps them sharp. You don't threaten them, you simply remind them, quietly, subtly, that nothing is guaranteed, that loyalty is noticed, that comfort is temporary. Rule 30. Let the enemy build your legend. Never waste time defending yourself. Let them attack. Let them gossip. Let them overreach. Because the more they speak, the more they spotlight you, and the more they exaggerate, the more mysterious you become. Machiavelli's rulers let rumors run, because rumors, if timed right, become myth, and myth becomes momentum. When they talk, stay silent. When they guess, stay distant. And when the time comes, speak once and watch everything shift. Rule 31. Break the rules others are afraid to touch. The game was built to protect the weak from the strong. That's why it glorifies fairness, transparency, equality. But Machiavelli would tell you, these rules are tools, use them when they help you. Ignore them when they don't. If you want to win in a soft world, you must play a hard game. Not recklessly, but boldly. You must say what others won't. Do what others fear. Walk where others hesitate. That's how you rise past competition, by refusing to obey limits they treat as sacred. Rule 32. Disappear before they can copy you. When they finally understand your formula, leave it, pivot, vanish. Machiavelli knew that the longer you stay in one place, one mindset, one method, the easier you are to predict. So once they start copying your moves, you change the game, you exit the pattern, you redefine the standard, you shift, and they chase. That's what makes you untouchable, not just power, movement. This is the end of the list, but the beginning of something more dangerous, awareness, because now you don't just see the world, you see the strings behind it. You see why good men fail, why loud men rise, why the quiet strategist always wins in the long run. Machiavelli didn't give you tactics, he gave you X-ray vision. He gave you the truth that makes the average man uncomfortable. And now you have a choice. Go back to playing fair, go back to seeking approval, go back to hoping power will come to you, or start moving like the people who rule silently. Rule 33. Win without fighting. Break them with contrast. The loudest man burns out, the angriest man gets ignored, but the calm, composed man who wins without noise, that man becomes legend. Machiavelli understood, true power doesn't flex, it doesn't scream, It just wins. Quietly. You don't argue. You don't compete. You don't play their game. You redefine it. And the moment they realize it, it's already too late. Rule 34. Leave no legacy. Build one that doesn't need you. Most rulers want to be remembered. Machiavelli didn't care about memory. He cared about momentum. The true Machiavellian ruler builds systems, not shrines. He doesn't build to be worshipped. He builds to outlast himself. Create structures that operate without your constant presence. Teach principles that survive criticism. Build foundations so deep that the collapse of your image can't bring down your empire. Legacy isn't applause, it's resilience. Rule 35. Always be underestimated until you strike. Your greatest weapon is misdirection. Let them think you're harmless. Let them think you're slow. Let them think you're soft, and then move like a ghost through their weaknesses. This is the final principle. You are not here to be admired. You are here to be effective. Your name doesn't need to trend. It needs to last. Your methods don't need approval. They need results. Machiavelli's rules don't require fame. They require nerve. Because once you embrace these truths, once you discard the morality that was designed to keep you obedient, you stop reacting to the world and you start rewriting it. You're not a pawn anymore. You're not the voice begging to be heard. You're the force that cannot be ignored. And now I'll leave you with this. If these rules spoke to something deep in you, if they woke something you've been hiding, say it out loud in the comments. I won't be outplayed. I will be the exception. Let them call it dark. Let them call it dangerous. Because the man who wins gets to write the rules. Watch the next video and don't blink.